Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today is going to be a really fun day. I'm hearing an echo, babe.
Oh.
This is live, but today I'm live and the painting is live. We're going to be painting this gorgeous butterfly scene. John's going to make me small so you can see what we're doing. It is a one Hoot project, which means it's super beginner friendly. Our Friday night classes kind of have more of a party vibe. Techniques are more accessible. We really break everything down. We keep the energy light. So you remember when you're starting out in that painting space, not to take it too seriously, because first and foremost, this is art and art should be fun. We have some new features to be showing you tonight, some new zooms, some new angles. You're going to really enjoy this painting. And again, as I said, I am live and the painting's live. It's both live.
Wait, you didn't say that I was gonna.
Huh?
You didn't say I was gonna have to show him off.
I thought we were doing that.
All right, I'll do it.
I mean, he's been working for like 2 days, like we're straight, sure. Okay, I think we're ready to like kind of hop on in. You'll see sort of what we're starting with. So here I have the completed reference painting. If you check the description below and you go to our website, there is a traceable. You don't have to draw. I always have a no draw option with my lessons. Don't let being ready to draw or not ready to draw be a barrier to you starting to do something fun like painting. You can pick up drawing as you go. Think of it as just a skill like dry brushing, blending wet into wet. It's just one of many skills that you can learn in your very relaxed, happy art journey. So here's our reference. I'm going to put this to the side for myself. You guys have this on the website on the event page, so you could print it out if you wanted to have your own reference to the side. I have given John his own copy, so we can check on that. And I've got some paint out. Now, these are pretty simplistic colors at this point. There are more colors we're going to be using during the lesson, but we're going to start out with an interesting little trick to get the gradation. We've got phthalo blue, titanium white, more phthalo blue, more titanium white, and phthalo blue. I'll show you the trick with that. I'm going to use a cool tool called a palette knife, but if you don't have one of these already, you can just use your brush to do the following part. This is just a nice way to do it, and it saves you some paint. This surface here, the fabulous surface, is a 9x12. Art board. I just get these from Michael's, actually. I buy them in packs, like big amounts of them in packs. Did you know that you can buy your art supplies by bulk from Michael's? John knows this because he's the one who figured it out for us. Mm-hmm. You can buy by bulk, so you can go in and talk to the store manager and get your materials in bulk and really save yourself some money, and also never worry about running out of canvas. On our Friday classes, wicka, 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 woo! On our Friday classes, we like to do wishes or intentions, ideas or thoughts that we put out into the universe, just some type of positivity to make sure that we stay focused on what is fun in art. Excuse me while I get my paper towels. It's always good to have kitchen towel, like a paint towel. Once it's touched your paint, it ain't a kitchen towel no more. Look at me just like, I'm like a little mouse. I can't even, do you have someone in your life? Because there's probably somebody who opens this very neatly. And then there's that person who opens it like they're a rat gnawing into the little roll of paper towels. I'm the rat. It's me. I live with someone who opens it neatly.
Yes.
And I am. Do you think that's you?
I have a pocket knife, so things tend to.
Look at this. It's just getting worse.
You've just butchered it.
It actually, is now.
Butchers do a better job cutting.
Yep. Nope. This is I'm like a bower bird up in here. I'll make it work. Look at that. I saved it.
Do you know how hard it is to get paper towels in this house? You you better save those.
This is literally, I don't know what it's like before COVID, it was an issue of drama. Now where they like only let you leave with so much stuff, it's a big deal in our house.
You're like smacking the kids going, don't dry your hands with a paper towel. You gotta
use a towel.
Just no. Kids.
So our first wish is just safety for people. All the people.
All the peoples.
All the people. Everywhere. Just safety for everybody. It's a crazy time. And I think that's always been true, but I think sometimes circumstances make you more aware of how fragile everything is and how lucky and blessed we are to be here in our little rock in space. health and abundance for everyone who needs it. So I know many people are struggling for their health right now, and many people are struggling to make ends meet. And I'm just wishing for everybody who needs it the health and abundance they need to be able to be happy. Kindness to animals. Sometimes when things get bad for people, things get much worse for animals. So I'm just wishing for kindness to animals. And it was so funny because I was watching Netflix. I'm going to get my little brush. I'm going to take a brush. This is a Princeton Select Round Blender. It's just a nice, and I'm going to just take my watercolor pencil and kind of soften it. This will blend into the blue background, but for the purposes of this, I don't want the words to show through.
You know what I've learned?
What have you learned, sir?
Nothing good starts with, I was watching Netflix.
Okay, I was watching Netflix, and I was watching Connections, a new show. It's a sciencey show. I like sciencey shows when I'm out of my tea shows and I'm out of everything. And so I'm watching the sciencey show, and they were showing this camera recognition. It's a slightly scary segment, especially if you ever read, oh gosh, I don't know, 1984, Animal Farm. All of the dystopian novels you're required to read in school. It just really brought it home. But it was for a really good reason. They had facial recognition on the pigs, and they were trying to determine how happy the pigs were and also be able to recognize all the pigs. This is actually going quite well based on the fact that they've been taking all of our images offline without our consent, using it to test their algorithm. So kind of an intense show to watch, but piggies.
So I go back to my original statement.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing good starts with, I was watching Netflix.
Everything good starts with I was watching Netflix.
I will say,
1 part phthalo blue to 1 part white. I'm going to mix these together, and then I'm going to let John say what he has to say.
I like the more open room.
Do you? Do you, sir?
You're in the green room.
I am in the green room.
It's funny because if you pick up something white, it reflects the green and the white, and it all gets all wonkety in the.
Super true. I'm going to take a little bit of this over here, this blue, and I'll mix it in to this blue here. It kind of gives me mid-range. If I need to add a little more blue to it, I can. I feel like that should be enough. We'll see if I do it again, but the basic goal is I'm mixing 3 values of blue because I need to do a shaded background. When you're new to painting in acrylic, one of the hardest things to do is to do a shaded background that you don't have stripe, stripe, stripe. Stripe, stripe, stripe.
The gradated background instead of the, I should say it's stepped background instead of gradated.
Yeah, stepped background instead of gradated. So you can see why I like the palette knife. It lets me kind of mix out the colors as I want to. Here is what the paper towel is for. Let's hope I don't get paint all over me. I'm sure I will. So first step that you have to do, super done. I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to go ahead and paint the entire surface of the canvas with a blue. This part is the chillest part.
I'm gonna go over to the other camera.
Be like, when anyone comes in and you're like at the blue stage, what are you doing? Painting. They don't know, right?
Actually, you can see it. It's pretty streaky.
What's streaky?
The coverage of this.
Don't you say I'm streaky. It is streaky. Phthalo blue, whether you're painting professional paint or student paint or craft paint, tends to be a very transparent pigment. And the result of that is that you will see the brush strokes, especially over white, which is why I like to go a little bit of blue first. This is, again, a #1 Princeton blender. It is one of my many blending brushes. It's nice to have one of these rounds. You can get these, just any big brush that will let you paint the surface. Whatever you've got, just grab your big one. If it's your foam brush, get your foam brush. Nothing wrong with a foam brush. If it came in the kit, you use what you got. Use what you got. But the first part is really just getting this whole surface blue. That's all we're doing. And we do this because, 1, the transparency of blue. 2, the fact that acrylic paint really digs to stick to acrylic paint. It's its favorite. It's its very, very favorite. Deep breathing, deep breathing. I see my community being so sweet to each other and supporting each other through stuff. If you do get to come, if you're not here for the live, I know everyone here right now is here for the live. But if you're watching the replay because you thought, I don't want to paint some butterflies, check out this live chat and then come by and hang out with our art family because you cannot believe how much fun they have. I think I'm just an accessory to the party in the chat. I am. I'm like that little animation on the study videos, except I do more things. That's all it is. Maybe I only think I do more things, but I don't do more things. And the animation does all the things. See me just painting this little background. Look, I'm almost done.
Wow.
Let's all do a wiggle dance because we did it. We did it. We did it. Look at that.
Wow. That's
streaky
good.
background is step one. You can handle that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get into the beautiful blended background. But by starting out with a streaky background, we're going to set ourselves up for success. Sometimes when you're new to painting, you can have really challenging moments with your art, and it isn't you at all. Mm-hmm. It's some step that you didn't know you needed to do, some nature of the product that you're using, the pigment, the material, whatever's out there that you just had no idea about. And then you think it's you, but it was never you at all. And for the next step, I do recommend that things be dry.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's another thing you don't know as a beginner when you're new to painting. Sometimes you need the surface, the two edges of paint to be wet. Sometimes you need them to be dry when you're going to be doing a whole nother layer on top. Dry is super helpful. I'm going to take my hair dryer.
All right.
I'm going to dry this. John's going to turn my sound off for a second so you don't have to listen to the blare and talk to you about color shift or something that he's excited about today.
All right. So, this is pretty exciting. We have so many new things afoot, and one of the things that I'm kind of concerned with is all the background noise. It's very noisy here. I have to put a wall between me and cinnamon so that there's less noise, because that's very loud. Yeah, and don't use heat, because heat can induce color shift, and it can make your paint soft. So a lot of acrylic paints, well, all acrylic paints, are based on a synthetic compound which can get soft with heat. So you're best to not use any heat, just use the air because that's what helps cure it. And then, make sure it's thoroughly dry. That way you're not having any tacky surface, which, again, why you don't want to use heat. So that's why she keeps touching the surface to make sure that it's thoroughly dry and there's no issues there.
Kelly says she loves the new Zoom, John.
Well, we haven't even zoomed.
Yeah. Oh, well, she probably saw it. She saw the preview of the Zoom. I didn't put this on in a in an even way. I have a bigger lip up here.
That's okay.
I use double stick dots to hold this onto my wiki on my Lazy Susan. That's how I do that. I also want to thank Jan. I saw something. Jan and Zeta both said very sweet things, and I have always been very grateful for any compliments. I think it's really wonderful when we get to lift each other up. John will tell you I'm a random complimenter. I will compliment a stranger in a line. Like someone I don't know. I never miss an opportunity to tell somebody if they've got something fabulous. But I also really appreciate that when you guys say that stuff to me. So if you're ever wondering, does she see it? Does she appreciate it? I do very much. And I make a point of taking your goodwill, and in my own life, I try to pay it forward. So I always try to pass that positivity forward and make sure that there's a chain of kindness and lifting each other up. So I say, all right, to do this next part, I'm going to still just stick with my little brush here. You could also use a brush like this. This is a 1-inch wide wash. You could use a nice chunky bright. You're just trying to paint in the background. The nice thing about the blender is it will help a bit with creating soft edges, but the soft edges is really about if your two zones of paint are wet when they're trying to blend into each other. So let's start with this. Let's load up a nice load on this brush. See, I'm going to dip in some water just a bit. Look, I don't dip my brush deeply, and I'm coming to the edge here. I'm getting a small amount of water and loading it in. And you go back and forth, whatever brush you have, you're going back and forth, because that's how the brush holds paint. It pushes the paint into the brush, and that's why it seems like my paint goes so far. I don't have magic paint or a magic brush. I myself am not magic, though I certainly would think it would be cool to be magic. That seems fun. I would love to go to Hogwarts. Have not received my owl yet, though, so am waiting. Am waiting to go to Hogwarts. Actually, that's not true because I went to Universal. So I definitely went. And I had butterbeer, and I sorted my hat, and I got a wand, and I have a really cool puppet owl that looks like Hedwig. So, accurate statement. Notice that I have put this lighter color, my lightest color, and I threw here in the center. Everything is still wet. I am brushing softly with my brush. Just trying to create a nice smooth application in the center. All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty wonderful. John is scowling at some light. Makes me nervous whenever he scowls at the equipment because I don't know, scowling because it's going to fall on my head, scowling because it's behaving in a way he doesn't approve of. Hard to say. I'm going to dip again, and I'm going to come get my slightly darker value, and you can see I'm going to go ahead and load in, and you can easily get in there, and you can see that it is darker. And I'm brushing it into the center here because we want this to feel like a night sky. And I've done this with my beginners before. And the wonderful thing about you guys sharing your art with me online is I can see where you are having little stumbling blocks. And where you will here is if you try to paint this when the center is dry, because you're trying to blend this wet paint softly into this next value of wet paint, which is why we practice mixing 3 shades. We're going to see how that goes. Definitely share your painting. Let me know. How was it? Was that technique easy for you? If you're finding this challenging, there is a painting for the background, Groot's background. You want to paint baby Groot, and it's green and yellow, and it shows some sponge and other techniques. I've got a lilac lavender one with a butterfly that also does a sponge technique. So there's a couple ways to get in here. This is the one we're using today, and you can see we're just feathering and making sure. That's what you're trying to do, is just make sure you've got a nice little background. I use my paper towel to get the extra moisture out of here, and I'll soften any little marks. I can always come in a little water. And look, I had my white over the side. You're like, why is there white over there? I can exaggerate. Sometimes you want to exaggerate some, my friends. I'm going to continue to exaggerate and enjoy my center. But the trick will be, again, the surface is dry, but the paint is wet. The surface is dry, but the paint is wet.
I'm going to go ahead and fade you out just for a minute.
Okay.
While I make an adjustment behind you.
I'm faded. Shame on me. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to rinse out. You can see my water is getting quite blue. And when I'm dragging it off, there's a lot of blue pigment that's still coming out of the brush. It lets you know how much the brush is holding. The reason I wipe off the brush between is I'm controlling how much water is in my brush. I'm going to get my pure blue back again. And I'm going to brush my darker color around these edges. Look at that go. Yeah. When I want to get some 2 little zones going, you can see me. And when John can do this on the 3/4, I'm going to have him show you how lightly my brush is engaging. He's in the middle of doing a thing right now. He's doing a thing. But when he's done with that thing, he'll come show you. Adding my dark blue. So where he can catch it, that'll be great. I'll go right here, John. I've got my brush. It's a little bit wet. He's going to come on the thing. Notice that I'm barely pressing down, right? How lightly I'm touching. It's a very soft blend. Got a soft brush, and it's a very soft blend. That's how you get those soft transitions. You can always go back with your light color. That's why it's nice to have it a little pre-mixed anywhere you want to soften that blend. How lightly do we press? Very lightly. Pressing lightly enough. That will be a key component. I'm going to come right here. And again, try to make sure that I blend those. And you can see I'm not pressing hard. Sometimes it's hard from an overhead angle or some of the other angles to see how hard I might be pressing to get the effect. But once you can see it, you can duplicate it. I'm going back and forth into my paint. Let's go ahead and dip in the water to improve flow. Let's come on the edge here. Coming on the edge here. There we go. Coming on the edge here. Kind of making a nice little keyhole of light. And where you need to soften it, you just soften it. Is the painting upside down or is it the right way?
No, that's right.
Okay.
Well, it depends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because for the camera.
Well, you said that it was offset because one side was taller than the other. So I don't know.
Which side is what?
Yeah.
I understand. Just making a nice little transition. Look at this, making little transitions. Making happy little transitions in the night. Transitions in the night. Changing blues now. Dancing, it's alright. You can see you just use the two little colors and create a blend. But notice that it's not a quick and done. And there's not a white center, then a stripe of blue, and then a stripe of black. This is a very good thing to learn how to do. If you're struggling at all with your blending, guess what? I have a whole video all about how to blend easier and things that might help you for different challenges. And you can have a variety of challenges in your own studio with a blend. I gotta watch my water cups. I'm just coming with a damp brush and I'm satisfying myself. Satisfy yourself first. With the value and softness of the painting. Guess what we're going to do?
What are you going to do?
Just to enforce the depth of this.
Enforce the depth?
Enforce the depth. I'm going to be bossy with my painting. This is TheArtSherpa Purple. You got to check these things real fast.
Sherpa Enforcer.
Now that looks like black on the surface, but it is not black. It is TheArtSherpa Purple. I'm going to come here. I'm going to get my brush just a little bit wet. And I'll load up with just some of my purple and then get it into my blue. And this is going to take my paint into an indigo range. You can see that's quite much darker, right? I'm going to come around and just, where I feel like I'm going to have the grass, I will want it to stay lighter. So I will probably make this the sky. And I'm making that decision honestly based in what's going on in my little workspace. Just so things don't become kind of crazy difficult, because I did do it off center. Come down here and do that. Now, when I want to blend that in, right, that's a beautiful, wonderful. Look at us go. Why do I do blended backgrounds to people? It's so mean. It's a really good skill to learn. And it's better you learn it in the safety of a supportive classroom and zone. That little spot there bugs me. I'm going to do an interesting trick. Sometimes if you have two brushes, you can come back where it's wet into wet and soften a blend a good bit. Strategy. This here is also a round mop. This is my favorite one. It is my favorite. A little harder to get. This one's pretty easy to get, and this one's a little harder to get. If you can find this one, I highly recommend it. It's my favorite. And I am kind of just enjoying my painting in the background a little bit too much. But I feel like I kind of have gotten there. So now we have kind of a mystic little sky, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Looking good.
Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Oh, wait, we have to say hey to somebody. Let's see. Barbara Summers. Hi there, Sherpa, John Mods, and all. Happy Friday. It's Fun Friday.
Oh,
I'm going to drink my
Barbara.
not contaminated with paint water. I did not mean to match the glass of the painting. So I am going to have this dry while it can dry for a second, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to put out next, right?
Okay.
So I think it would be a good idea. We've already got some dioxazine purple out. That's fantastic. Let's put out some quinacridone magenta. I'll put it here. I might need to make me smaller. We'll see how it goes.
We can work it out.
We'll work it out. We'll figure it out. I also have some Mars Black. That's nice for the dark colors. I won't put out stuff until I'm super ready for it, but I do think it's a good idea at this stage to maybe put out a little yellow. Like you do, sir. Well, like somebody do. Let's have a little fun. Little fun, fun, fun. Do, 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 do. I don't know what's up with me today, sir.
It's a little Sherpa.
It's a little Sherpa. A little Sherpa. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He knew that would start that. Sometimes John starts me off on purpose.
On thoughts. I
He
plant
does.
seeds.
I need new water, buddy.
All right.
I did not bring over enough water. So this is a number 4 round in the Art Sherpa brush line. You have to have my brush to paint my paintings. No, don't do that. No water. You have to have my brush to paint my paintings. It's nice. Thank you if you do get them. That's lovely. And they are amazing brushes. I did do them. But you don't have to have any particular brand or singular brush to do a painting. There are good brushes out there. What you're going to want to look for as a new artist is you're going to want to look for synthetic, not natural filaments. That's the little things that look like hair coming out of the brush. So this is the handle. This is the ferrule. This is the crimp. And this is the head of the brush. The head of the brush is made of filaments. A round should come to a sharp point, and it needs to be firm enough to be able to do nice lines with your paint, and it needs to come to a sharp enough line. Now, this brush is all those things. And you can find this if you go to silverbrush.com. They have a brush finder, and they have every brush that is made listed there. And there's retailers all over the world, and it's online in all kinds of locations. But that's what you're looking for in your brush. I am going to keep talking to you about brushes, and here's why. Is John's going to come back with water. And that is a very important thing. I'm now catching up with chat. Oh my goodness, Nutty's Niche. If you use neons, would you use some now with the blue or GID? I don't know what GID stands for. I feel silly, but I don't know. But I wouldn't use my neons yet. I would use my neons as maybe accents on the flowers. I would use my neons to help the butterflies glow. I would use my neons to help the magic sparkles happen. So I would sort of reserve them for that. By the way, thank you so much, Nutty's Niche, for that. I also, and you don't have to do a super chat to get your question answered, though. It does help if you do it all in caps, because the chat can go real fast while I'm brushing, while I'm painting, and it can be hard for me to see. So that's the only thing. We won't think you're yelling. I promise. Regina M is here, and she says, hey there, I'm late. So throw up some donut emojis, Regina, because whenever you're late, you bring the donuts. They're virtual donuts, and they have no calories. So again, I'm dipping my brush in water. I'm going to drag off the extra. The grasses. The grasses. So I'm going to be doing this on the lighter part of the bottom. And here towards the center, the grasses, which layer we're doing, it won't matter, will be lighter than the outside grasses. So I'm going to take I'm going to put out some fresh white so it's not in the way of other things I'm doing, right? Because you don't want it to be in the way. And we're going to do some nighttime-y little colors here. Let's put out some white. Water helps thin the paint. Oh, glow in the dark. Glow in the dark really only comes in that green. So I kind of, actually there's some new glow in the dark products that are, especially because of the nail industry, that now glow in the dark on their own, photoreactive in different colors. So I would say still wait till you have the objects in and then glow it. Whenever you're going to glow in the dark or glow a painting, kind of glow at the finish because they're so transparent and that's the best time to get it. Take a little of your purple into your quinacridone magenta. You're going to make kind of a lightish pink color here. Right? Get that all into the brush, and then we're going to come into the white. And the reason is because, again, the flowers in the center are lighter than the flowers at the edge. So let's come up here, and I'm going to start in the middle. Maybe John will give you guys a different view of this, and I'm going to drag up a line. It's a very fine line, and I get that by keeping the pressure on my brush very light so that doesn't put a lot of weight to it so it won't spread out. When I get that line, I'm going to do the very nice job of making little leaf marks. Those little leaf marks. You see those? They're just little strokes. You kind of zipper them into the plant, don't you? That's lovely. I like to just start somewhere. I'm working on a grass series right now, and I'll tell you one of the things that's coming out of that is that sometimes you just have to plant your first blade of grass. Sometimes you just have to. A lot of this will be painted over, so don't be too worried about your plant from there down. It's nice to have different things that could capture the attention. It's fun to have dandelions. Shall we put a dandelion?
Why not?
Dandelions. I say every time you do these, have some fun, paint some things that you really like. I think we'll do a partially blown dandelion. And what that means is it's not completely fluffy. It has different little fluffs, but they're not all fluffy. I'm going to make the little lines out. I've never done a dandelion. This is fun. They're about 1/4 of an inch long. They radiate out. A little shorter on that side because the dandelion has blown some fluff, right? And then, this is fun. You just make the little radial puffs out. Little radial puffs. Aren't the radial puffs fun?
Yeah.
Radial puffs. This is simple dandelion. Could be its own mini vid. How to do the simplest dandelion in the world. I don't know if it's simpler than my Q-tip one, but it's pretty simple. Like that. And you can see the little puffs help it. I can even add like a second layer of little puffs in to kind of make my dandelion seem fuller. Doesn't he look like a full little dandelion right now? Full little dandelion. And he's like, because he's right there. Let's give him a nice little stem coming down. And then I'm going to add some little leaves. Nicely structural leaves. When you're doing a brush stroke, you start with the brush stroke very light, not a lot of pressure. As you go into the stroke, you press down and it engages the brush and then you release it again. How you get nice little defined leaves. It can be also nice to pull up some thin little blades of grass. Maybe they weave through here. That's what we're doing. Thin little blades of grass weaving through, weaving through. Just put some thin little blades of grass here in the center. We have the blue line to do and the black line to do, so you've got room. You can do different things every time. You can do different plants every time. My lines are curved, they're thick and thin, and that's about pressing hard and releasing, pressing hard and releasing. And remember, you can take your brush to a scratch piece of paper and practice any of these marks. This is mark making, right? You're making marks, making textures, and you're making marks. Go ahead and get a little more white onto your brush, just a little more. And I like to kind of come in and add a little dynamic shading to the dandelion. We're going to have just a relaxing paint tonight, guys. It's going to be one of those nights. We're just going to chill and go along. So see how I've kind of made that two-tone?
Nutty's Niche says that she's found that fluorescent paint to be hit and miss, and it's better to buy one at a time and then just see how they go.
Holbein. If you get sick of it being hit and miss, Holbein. Whole line is amazing. They don't make a blue. They make the best violet. I have 1,000 videos, so sometimes it's hard for me to remember where I've demoed it. But I've tried everybody's brand. And so it goes Holbein, and then Matisse Derivan has some good colors. And then also so does Lucas. Lucas has got a pretty good glow in the dark. And then there's some new stuff that is coming out on Amazon and places, but that is hit and miss. You are correct. You've got to really test that. We're just going to make some light marks right there. And let's add some little light marks to our leaves just to be cheeky, shall we? A few. But you want to leave some of the dark there. You don't want to take away all of your shading, because then you're like, man, where's my shading?
Where is your shading?
There we go. I think we painted that center beautifully. Can I repeat what brush I'm using? Asked Tara. I can. And then Chanelyn Martinez says, will you ever do a cheetah? And this is the moment I realized I don't have a cheetah. So probably now that you've said something. You just realized I don't have a cheetah. All right. This is a number 4 Art Sherpa round. It has a sharp point. Brush sizes are not universal, so the brush that works like this might not be a 4. You're just looking for something with a synthetic filament that's firm. As you're coming to the outside edges of your grass, let's add a little more purple and magenta in here. And you can get some of your white as you're coming out, but you do definitely want to start to darken this. Let's bring a little, have you guys ever done like a foxtail? So I bring a little line up. Let's bring a little line up. Got a little aggressive with my line. And you're going to kind of draw little flick lines out. Believe it or not, you're learning a lot about doing grass right now. Good practice. There you go. That's a little foxtail for your grass. Sometimes your grass has a little foxtail. I'm going to bring up some little lines here that are darker because we're moving out to the outer edge. Enjoy this process. Don't rush it. Don't put pressure on yourself. You're just painting. If you're still painting after the video's over, don't put pressure on yourself. That's okay. I have a speed component. You don't have a speed component. I'm going to come here. Let's do like a nice little sort of wheat grass. I make pull strokes. We touch and pull. And we're making kind of a thick little plant-like shape. Look at that. Little branches. I always like to just think about what little things could be growing here. What little elements could we be seeing? Another little foxtail. Little foxtail grass. Growing up. Over here. Doing its little thing. That's lovely. So we have a light purple in the center, and we've got a darker purple coming out, and that's because it's darker on the outside. You can see what I do is I grab a little purple. Look, I come from the edge and I pull it out. I come to my pink, I pull it out and go swirl, 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 swirl. That's how if I need to grab some white, that's how I keep my palette tidy. A lot of times people ask me, how is your palette so tidy? How? It's a secret. It's a secret, not secret. It is a secret, not secret. I'm going to come up here and some little grass lines. Blend some little grasses into this space. Because there would be some, and sometimes they bend to the left, and sometimes they bend to the right, and they are unruly, and they do what they want to do. They're like the Addams family. They do what they want to do, say what they want to say. The Addams family. We're fine. Make a little. We're just painting a little foxtail. Foxtails. They're a little thicker at the base and they taper towards the end. That's what they do. Strokes are upward. Just filling in some grass. Look at that. Looks good, doesn't it? It does look good. Sorry if I shocked you out of your calm. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good.
Catching up with the chat?
Yep. Catching up on a bunch of crazies.
Earworms. Earworms happen. Happen to me all the time. I'm going to make another little foxtail here. Maybe a little excited with my foxtail. It's going to be interesting tucking my butterflies in when I encroach with so much grasses. Sometimes you encroach with a lot of grasses. Right? And if you want to, you can always come and make a slightly lighter purple. In just some of that foxtail on the inside edge. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of highlighting it. You're not just silhouetting, you're silhouetting with dimensionality. Because you're awesome. Okay, I'm going to go biggie size my screen. Love y'all, and I'll be in chat in a bit, says Lily. And Callie says, I struggle with not getting the paint to clear up the brush away from the toes so my light strokes don't come out well. I'm struggling with not getting the paint clear up the brush away from the toe. So here's my brush. I'm going to come here and dip in the water. This is the load. Pull, 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 flip your brush. Pull, pull, pull. So I thinned it and I flipped it. Pull, pull, pull. It's not going to creep on me. It's going to be right in the middle. Right there. Combination of the fluidity of the paint, the way I'm loading it, the firmness of the filament. That's the dance you're in. That's your Roomba. Your Roomba. Not a Roomba. It's your Roomba. That's your small robotic vacuum cleaner. Why not? It's that kind of a day, is it not, sir? I'm going to sip some water.
It is.
And missed my paint because I'm traveling today. I am doing what's called a putter today.
Is that what this is called?
This is a putter. I'm puttering. Sometimes I putter. Sometimes I zip along because it's going to be 4-hour class, even if it goes fast as I can. But sometimes I just putter so we can all relax. Do you have any perspective pictures? I have many perspective pictures, Lindsay. I've got roads vanishing in the distance. I have city perspective pieces. We have a big art quest on perspective. It's really fantastic. Perspective is a wonderful world, and you can dive really deep. If you want to have a great introduction to perspective, do you remember Captain Mark? Blast across the page.
You know,
he did it. Secret City was awesome.
That didn't, age well.
It's
like Burt Reynolds.
Well, Secret City aged well. Other stuff is going on there. But that's separating the artist from the art. Got to separate the artist from the art.
Tell that to Burt.
I don't know Bert, and I doubt he would listen to me. You would tell Bert stuff, but I would not go up to Mr. Reynolds and be like, sir, let me tell you how you should be living your life.
You'd be talked to the stash.
I would not even, not even. I'm going to take a little of my blue doing that load that I just demonstrated. Let's put a little yellow in our load. I'm going to take it all the way to green. Add some white to this. But I do want some distinct kind of yellow. If you want to wipe off, you can. My palette is a little wet right now, and that's because I just misted it. There we go. Getting the color. Get that color. So let's come here and say right here, it needs a little more white in it. What I'm doing right there? Just lightening up the paint. And I'm going to make a little button. This will look like a gumdrop. And then I'm going to take my brush and press. and pull into the flower. Press and pull into the flower. Press and pull into the flower. I know, I'm excited about saying these words, but they are effective. If you need to, I'll let John catch up with me. I'm going to move my surface and he's going to zoom into where I'm at. Press and pull into the flower. Sometimes we also go a little bit slower if we've got you on an extreme zoom. Now, at the center, I might actually notice how the curve kind of goes towards this left side, upwards. I'm going to switch that curve. Look at that. I just curve the other way. That's lovely. Put that up if I need to. That's a nice little focal flower. I'm going to get a little white here. Just finding white to lighten where I need to. And I'm going to give myself some nice big leaves here. Those are fun. I don't want to take out all the wonderful detail I put there at all. So I'll go ahead and wet my brush a bit. Some white mixed in. Get a little bit more of my phthalo blue and yellow in there. And let's do some grasses. They're going to go kind of low here because I want some of my leaves to show. I'm going to take out all my cuteness. I don't want to rely totally on butterflies. That doesn't seem like that'll be good. Rely totally on butterflies. And you can always come in with just a little more blue into it and kind of darken it a bit, but I would say just take it to right about there. This layer is good. Just trying to make a distinctive little zone like you do. And a thing that I can do is I can get some more white onto my brush. More white. And what can I do? I can come here and add a little highlight. Some of my petals and some of my blades of grass. Got all my leaves. That's looking quite. How is yours? How is yours doing? Golden says, we are all crazy, art crazy. Yeah, I agree with that. And I catch up with the chat again. How do you know when to use gesso or just paint for the background? So, gesso is a surface prep. It can come in colors, and it can come in white, and can come in clear. It has a grit in it to help the surface take paint. It can make your surface a little more thirsty. And the grits can come in different graininess, so it can be quite fine and quite heavy. When you have a raw canvas surface, you must absolutely, unless you're doing a linen expressive piece, gesso your surface to prep it when you've got your raw canvas duck. And when you've got that, if you have a canvas surface that the gesso application was just not a fine gesso application, you can come back and gesso that. That said, you can always just paint a surface with acrylic paint because acrylic likes acrylic. Gesso is less expensive than acrylic, so many artists choose to use gesso as a way to start their paintings. They're all about gesso. I'm going to add a little of my water to my black. See, I'm coming here. And this is where, when you're mixing, it kind of creeps up. Roll it. Get a little more. Look at how I'm incorporating that and then rolling it off. The other thing you can do is you come here and you just pull it out. That's what you do. Let's come up here. And I'm going to say, I've made a decision. Sometimes you just make a decision and you make a mark and then you lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling these down, making little grains. These are up closer grasses. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a couple little leaves. Those are nice, aren't they? Little errant leaves. Some talking little leaves. Delicate bits. Little marks that dance. If this is wet, then your paint will go gray. So you've got to watch for that. And if I notice that my paint is going gray, then I'll have to hair dry it. But I do believe the air is dry enough today that so far I haven't really run into that. We'll see how it goes. The bottom, I do want it to be much more of a solid black. And something I can do to speed up the work, make quick work or busy work of what I'm doing, is to take a brush like a bright. This is a number 10 bright. You're just talking a bigger brush. Watch this. I'm going to come here and I'm going to go up just a little bit because I need the bottom of this to be solid. Anyways, right? Now I could paint it one tiny little stroke at a time and that would be fine and also very relaxing. But if I do this, and I'm not, one of the things that we tend to do, especially when we're new to painting, is paint with too small of a brush, areas that need a bigger brush to apply paint. And then, or we paint with too big of a brush. Now notice that I flick up, so I'm not really hurting this image that this space is grass. I'm creating uneven edges, right? The layers are happening. I'm going to come and define them out with beautiful decorative little grass strokes. But remember, whenever you put paint in your brush, you've got to rinse it out. And then even after this, even after I rinse it out, I take it and wash it at the end of my painting session. And you should too. Let's get some more water onto our brush. And Lori Kavanaugh. Hi, Lori. How you doing? Is coming by saying that she's loving the colors together. All right. I love that so many people actually refer to us as TAS. Makes me feel like I've got it. I'm so cool. I'm like an anachronism now.
You're an acronym.
An acronym. Sorry.
But you are
I am an anachronism as well. Oh, I'm having a night. Words are not my friend tonight. You ever have a night where words are not your friend? Just adding a little bit. Look at that.
I'm an art instructor, not a thesaurus Sherpa.
I used to have a friend in school who was very good at art. And actually, next to her, I didn't consider myself the good artist in our group. And everybody would ask her to draw stuff. Draw this for me, draw that for me. And she would be like, I am not an art vending machine. You don't put $1 in and get a masterpiece out. Later, I learned that if you want to make a living in art, you need to be an art vending machine. When they put $1 in, you better put a masterpiece out. But it felt very rebellious when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm. What I would say is... I
am now the working artist, so you can kind of see how that worked out. I think even then I knew that there was a falsehood there. There's a false logic.
Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking. I'm going to make a nice little dark mark. This is going to be kind of like, this is an interesting grass. I'm going to make more open little leaves. I don't know if you've ever seen these. They're like a little seed pod on a almost invisible little strand. Again, I've been painting a lot of grass lately, so I have many grass textures and visualizations going on in my head.
Good grass, bad grass.
Crabgrass, seagrass, grass on fire, creepy grass, grass in rocks, mowed grass, wild grass, all grass. There's a lot going on with grass. Grass with dew.
She went full forest on the grass.
Yeah, well, there's forest grass, grass with sunlight.
Run, Sherpa, run.
So you start answering a question, and then you start, because you've been online for a minute, and then you're like, well, I know if I do this, they're going to say, how would you do that? So I might as well do that.
You do. You just keep going with an
Grass and
idea.
snow. The list is very long. The list is long. Do you guys love how this is looking? I'm not rushing through because I want you to really see how this can be made and created and wonderful and quite special. And I think these two here are really great. I really like them. They are my favorite. They are my favorite. Rinsey, 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 rinsey. So I am going to dry this. That way I don't drag paint all over everything. Oh, I see Francisca. I just like that name.
And I see Sagar and Monica and Francisca and Linda Sue and Amy and Barbara and Julissa. I'm going to give it a try. Brenna and Francesca. Zoe. Zioa. Could be the alternate pronunciation of your name. You just never know. So, and then Golden Wolf with lots of, emphasis on letters that I don't know how to place those emphasis. So it could be like Guden Wolf, because I don't know how the oo and the n in the e in those things are done. So,
Yeah.
You're on your American butcherization of your names right now. So
I am. Normally, Amy Overt says, yes, I can't wait to take on John to come and puck it up. Thanks for doing this painting for me, Cinnamon. Okay. I don't get the reference, but I'm there with you, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
So normally in our lives, we do a thing where we say, tell us, where you are and your favorite color and your favorite animal. And that is fun, but I want to twist it up. I want to say, tell me your least favorite color and your least favorite animal. Should I add the place you don't? I don't want to add the place you don't want to live because somebody might live there and love it, and I don't want to start a fight between everybody. So we'll just go least favorite color, least favorite animal. There'll be a lot of bugs coming up, I bet you.
Least favorite. Bugs are not animals.
They count if it's alive.
I guess that's true. They're in the animal kingdom. They're not a plant, so
yeah, they're alive, so they count.
They're an animal. That's true. Insects are in the animal kingdom.
This is a General's pastel chalk pencil in white, and what I'm doing here is pre-drawing in my butterflies. If you don't want to draw these in, guess what? You have a traceable. This is when you would use that to put in your butterflies. And if you don't know how to use that, there's a video, trace it on, how to use my traceable that I made that's about 10 minutes to watch if you've never ever done it before. And don't feel weird if you're like, man, I don't know how to do that.
So
why would you just know that?
Jane's most unhappy things could be someone's favorite thing.
It's true.
She went for pink skunk.
Pink skunk. Least favorite color pink?
Least color
that's
favorite
interesting. That could do it. Yellow wasp. I think they did that. Nature did it, Deborah. Nature agrees with you.
Yep.
Yellow wasp. Nature said, I don't like it. Yellow.
And if you were to say, let's see here. Roaches, all the colors. Brown snakes. Spider, olive green. Brown mosquito. Ooh, yeah, I hear that one. Orange cats.
Orange cats.
No Garfield here.
Oh, my goodness.
Heathcliff, get behind me.
Sorry. That was a very scary and unpleasant laugh. I apologize. Sometimes I have those. Do you ever get one where you're just like, it's genuinely funny and you're into it, but you're like, I'm going to make a noise that is not okay. I'm going to do it, but it is not okay. I'm just drawing kind of my forward-facing butterfly.
See, now I'm thinking.
There he is. That's looking pretty
Pepe
good.
Le Pew.
You did?
I did. He was all like, I always thought his determination was admirable.
In today's culture, Pepe Le Pew would be super canceled.
He would be super bad.
He is not. He's not. That is not a it's so funny because it's so different, isn't it?
It's
that
so
was not
different.
consensual. That cat was not
No.
not a consenting cat.
But he thought it was a skunk.
Yeah, but she would still not be consenting. Peppy
No,
needs to
he
accept
does.
no as an answer. I feel like they need to reboot Peppy and improve Peppy's
He needs to come
respect
back and be
women's
like,
game.
so I watched the HR video and I now understand why I can't.
Why this is? I cannot go. No, that's not an acceptable greeting.
Yosemite Sam's over the corner hanging his guns up. Okay, I get it. It's a little intimidating to shoot my guns off.
No, because Yosemite Sam would have an open carry license.
What's open carry? It depends on what state he's in.
That's true, but he would
could
super be from Texas. Let's be honest.
But him and Elmer Fudd, they both do the open carry. And I mean, for that
But
point,
I feel like Elmer Fudd's more from the East Coast.
well, there's definitely those vibes.
He's got his little hunting license and he's doing a thing. I also feel like people need to recognize that Bugs is a supernatural being who should not be messed with. He's very powerful. We need to Elon Musk is going to get a very if that's all true, Elon Musk is not going to like it on Mars.
But from that era of cartoons,
I love those cartoons.
I have to say that Ferdinand was my favorite of those series. But I also liked what was the mouse?
Tom and Jerry?
No. Let's
Who are
see.
you referring to?
I want to say it was Pepe.
Oh, yeah. Again? Probably.
They were very.
So, as things change, it doesn't really bother me. And I think that's because I come from art. And in art, things are constantly changing. It's just an ever-evolving world, so it's not so stressful for
Speedy
me.
Gonzalez.
And I'm so excited. Yes.
That's what it was, Speedy.
Yeah. I think that things, they change.
Yeah, you have to. I have not gone back to see how all of these things have been revisited.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I like to go back because the artwork is so sublime. I highly suggest, be prepared that in the context of today, things may be different, but it is beautiful artwork and the music and the scores and what they put together was so extraordinary. Just beautiful stuff. It is. It is. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Oh, everyone is got Pirates of Dark Water. Yes, Desiree Whittington. Yes. Yes, Pirates of Dark Water. Yes. Also, He-Man. Awesome. Even in the modern context, I don't care. He-Man is awesome. She-Ra is awesome. Just awesome. Just awesome.
I like Treasure Planet.
Oh, Treasure Planet was just awesome.
The animated one?
Mm-hmm. You know what? There's this weird thing where they'll be like, that was a terrible movie we were just discussing, Kevin Costner.
Oh my gosh. All of stuff. It's
because honestly, in the context of everything, The Postman takes on a whole new level. We're rewatching it right now because it's extra level funny.
But I really liked it to begin with.
And I always loved it. This is maybe the 12th time I watched it.
Yeah, and then there's Waterworld.
I still love Waterworld, which also may end up being true.
Yeah, I just, Kevin Costner stopped predicting the future.
I was gonna write over there and be you have to stop predicting the future. I'm just very slowly drawing. Hey, we need a shout out to Jem. That is true. Jem was awesome. And Josie and the Pussycats.
Dude, Inspector Gadget. Talk about it. This was the ultimate case of the 14-year-old to the dog getting away with murder.
Oh my goodness. Do you remember Mr. Magoo?
Yeah.
And Mr. Peabody.
Mm-hmm.
Those were really, oh man, there was some genius stuff out there. So sometimes it's nice to take this time. You've sketched everything in. You can also start thinking, where do I want my big sparkles? In relationship to my butterflies. Because if you do this now, you can find the little spots that they would look really good. And you can also like, and I'll show you what I mean. You can make kind of an expressive little line that they can follow. As they go off into the far off distance. Steven Universe. Well, no, modern cartoons are amazing. What's incredible right now, Dragon Prince, amazing. Just loved all of it. Everything, Three Below, Troll Hunter, anything from Arcadia is incredible. Kupo and the Wonder Beast. So yeah, I watch a few things. Steven Universe, of course. Adventure Time.
You know what hasn't made a comeback that's totally surprised me? Captain Planet. I mean, like, you would think that, like, his whole thing was save the planet. We're now like, Captain Planet, we need you.
No,
Where
we can't
you?
even. I don't even know how we talk to Captain Planet. I don't. We'd have to apologize.
It would be.
Dudley Do Right.
He'd come back and be like, "What did you do while I was away?"
Tara Ryder says, please repeat the greenish blue flower mix. So if you're paying along, or Tara, for you, like there, like wherever, because you know what? What I find is if one person asks, another person on the replay had the exact same questions. So this is for that whole crew. It was phthalo blue with a touch of cad yellow and a lot of titanium white. So now I'm going to just wipe this drop off, which is going to not make me happy. I've got my cad yellow out, so I'm going to put out some of my cad red.
There's been a fair amount of cartoon talking today.
There is. There's a fair amount of just relaxing and talking today. All right. So there we go. I've got a number 12 round blender. A nice little brush to do. You could do my cloud brushes here. I'm going to get it a little bit wet, drag off the extra water. And I'm going to take my yellow here and mix it into my cad red to get kind of just a very bright orange. And mixing it all around the brush. And I'm going to come here and just dust around those little dots that I made. If you pre-dot with the chalk, you can change your mind. If you're like, oh, wow, that's too many dots. Or if you're like, oh, that's not enough dot. You can also do this with a round brush. I just like the weird little fuzzy effect that it gives.
My desk is squeaky.
Your desk is squeaky. She's all upset now. You started it.
I shook my desk and
you
it made
shook your desk. Don't you shake your desk, sir.
Sorry. No, be quiet. And then I woke. Oh, then she incites the other dogs.
Of course she incites the other dogs. What are you going to do but incite the other dogs?
We're still recording.
We are. It's just Twix got set off.
I shook
We're
my
still
desk.
Recording. There we go. Look at those yellow marks. Yellow marks are happening. The other next one that we're going to do is I'm also going to come here with just some yellow. This one is just yellow. And let's come in to the center of the yellows.
You know what? I think it is.
And don't forget to put out some yellows other places. Just yellow.
Oh, those look nice.
What do you think it is, sir?
I like those little dots.
I agree. I like them too. Even though they're fussy and they take extra time. It's like tonight we're just going to kind of putter along and really enjoy ourselves and do a thing.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. See how our little glows are going away? The glows just start to happen. The kids were taking a tip on a voice on a disconnected phone. Oh, okay. Scooby-Doo. All right. Row. I love Thelma. Just amazing character. So, like, I mean, Thelma in the face of just unbelievable experiences just remains centered in science.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't ever falter. Like, you couldn't have, like, a Mythbusters, Ghostbusters show with a Thelma. It's not happening. She'd be like, 2 seconds, she's like, I'm sorry. That's not happening. Like that guy on Evil. We have those going. And those can dry for a second. And we want to make sure we have a nice clean brush. Clean, 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 clean. And I like to use this one. And I'm going to take my titanium white and a little bit of my phthalo blue white light. And I want to come around my butterflies with a very soft brushing. This is going to be their glow. Comes around their wings. And I want to do this before I paint them. If you're doing glow paint, like we talked about earlier, you could do glow paint right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, you could. Just a little bit of lighter color that's happening. I just want it to be kind of fairly soft, fairly airy. Because the butterflies have a glow. You can get a little yellow into it if you want to. Right? The butterflies have a very distinctive glow. There's a little yellow. And if your paint isn't flowing nicely, just get some white on it. Just airing a little glow around the butterflies. And hopefully John can zoom in it.
I was just zoomed in, so I came back out a little bit.
So they can see far away?
Yeah.
That's smart.
Gotta mix it up.
Gotta mix it up. You gotta mix up the view so you guys can see it from several angles. And we're just going around all the little butterflies that we have, making sure that they have glows. Because they're glow flies. Love putting a little bits of the glow. Paint them back sometimes, but it's just nice to glow them up. Maybe I'll join those two. They have glow that intersects sometimes. Sometimes their glow intersects. Little bits of glow, 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 glow. That looks nice. Now, I highly recommend, and I'm going to put out, and you don't have to have this. You can keep using the white you have, and you can thin it with water. But if you have fluid paint, and this can be craft paint, this could be deco paint, but the paint in bottles, I'm going to shake this up so the pigment's distributed. It just makes doing this a little bit easier. I'm going to paint all of my butterflies white, and I'm going to paint the center of my glows white, and I'm also going to add some white dots.
There, just put the reference up for everybody there. Just
so they know what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And remember, if you want to print one out so you can see it bigger, we have that on the website, on the event page. If you go to the calendar and click the description, it will take you to a separate little web page. It hopefully, maybe by the time you're watching it, later viewer who is here after the live, we will have the new website up, and it will be quite wonderful.
Yes. For all of you time travelers who are in the future and enjoying our wonderful new website right now,
where this is so much easier to find.
Where it's so much easier. Leave a comment for all the time travelers who are not there with you to say that it gets better. Please give me a signal. I need to know it gets better.
The website will be better.
We have a new team working on it.
We do. I like to paint the butterflies white first because we're going to use some very light colors, and they would struggle even in pro paint, but if you're painting student paint, it'd be even harder. They would struggle to paint the butterflies. So by painting this white here, Lindsay Herbert says she has a building she didn't finish up, and Lori Kavanaugh says she makes these butterflies look so easy. I always freak out over them. Don't freak out over your butterflies. Butterflies are just happy little shapes, and their wings come in so many shapes and configurations that no matter, almost like, just like go out there and like, if you were to search your butterfly, Google would probably guess a whole species of butterfly. It's the butterfly game. Butterfly game. I think the game where we talked about what color we didn't like and what animal we didn't like was interesting because so many people picked the colors the animals already were.
I don't like brown snakes.
It was like nature already understood us.
Yellow
like
hornets, bad.
Bad.
Pink skunks. Well,
I don't know. That's probably person by person.
And it's you don't know that skunk personally. You meet a pink skunk, you might like them. Just give it a minute. I would say Pink Panthers get a pass. So I'm just saying, chances are
that Pink Panther is fantastic and has held up.
If
Pink Panther is as good when it was made as it is now,
well, it's because he was French. It's because he was French.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yes, the Pink Panther was French.
I got a gorilla for sale.
The gorilla was not French.
No, the gorilla was not French.
The gorilla is very American. He's purple.
Oh, well. It's good the world changes. Think about that. We used to litter outside the window of our cars.
There's been a few changes.
Changes are good.
What brush are you using there?
I'm still using my number 4 round. On my Friday night lessons, I will introduce you to brushes slowly, but I will try to keep these to brushes that you can find in your local stores and that there are versions of that have a variety of price points. And not too many of them. Saturday's lesson, no telling. Look at this go. We're just whipping through. We're nearly done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like being chill just because I know we're having our Friday, and I imagine many of us need our Friday right now.
Yes.
But, distant butterflies. They're distant butterflies.
Oh, yeah. So, what was it? Brenda was saying, I love the character in Fred Rogers' Neighborhood. King Friday, Queen Sarah, Henrietta Pussycat, the Owl, Lady Elaine
everything
Fairchild,
Mr. Rogers. We didn't even know
Tiger.
what we had, did we? With Mr. Rogers. It's a beautiful day.
I knew, dude, that guy from day one.
Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It was Mr. Rogers and Mr. Wizard's World for me. Like, those two shows were the ones that I wanted to watch. And then later, when Bill Nye came out, I was still into him.
Well, Bill Nye is amazing. Amazing educator. You know who is amazing right now? If you have kids and you're like, who's good now?
Brave Wilderness?
Yeah, I was going to say that exactly. Yeah. Coyote Peterson.
Mr.
Shout out from the Art Sherpa to Coyote Peterson. You are awesome. He is actually super awesome. And I'm going to say it. I like him better than Steve Irwin. I do. I think he's amazing. I think he's an ambassador for wilderness. I think he teaches kids how to appreciate wildlife and how to be safe with wildlife.
I have to say, I appreciate them both. I do like
I'm
Coyote.
Just saying I don't want love for everybody. I'm just saying my preference.
Yeah,
Coyote Peterson is blew my mind.
And I would say that it's definitely they're of the same ilk, but I would say Coyote Peterson is much more kid oriented. Not that
well, definitely
Steve
much more
wasn't,
kids. No, definitely a different show. But I'm just saying, Coyote is more kid oriented. But I'm going to have to say, as a grown up, I appreciate it.
And kudos to Coyote for evolving the art conversation around that.
In animal safety and wildlife awareness.
And that's really
ecology. He really helped my son become very aware of the world and the animals around him. And he can tell you all kinds of facts about different animals. And I feel like Coyote really kicked that off.
And he really validated that I don't want to be stung by a whole group of insects.
Mindy says, would you ever accept pictures to use as a reference? Yes. In fact, right now I'm going through a wildlife catalog from a longtime viewer's husband. And I'm trying to pick. I'm sure she thinks I'm never ever going to pick a picture, but I am picking a picture. And all the moderators have looked at the pictures. So we do. If you have something, if you're a photographer and you'd like to do a collaboration, support at TheArtSherpa.com. And send us a link and tell us what you're interested in doing. I am open to that.
Wow.
Hmm.
Jan has gone to 24 Dragon Cons.
Jan.
Man. That's like that's a very impressive statistic.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is amazing.
That's a lot of. I don't know. Is there a group that follows the dragon? I don't want to. I mean, like, because there's a whole nother metaphor of dragons that was not good during the 20s and 30s. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
But maybe if we're like, like following
I want to know if we have any Mist Village family here. Any of the Gnomes Rule. And I would like to say, if you are part of the Mist Village and you're coming in and you're like, Gnomes Rule, you can always say Gnomes Rule here. We will always accept it.
Because the gnomes,
but we were gnoming before I ever read the books.
Yeah,
straight up, we just also agree that gnomes rule.
Yes, we have a similar gnome-friendly culture here.
I think they're having I don't know if it got canceled. The Mist Village get together. They're going to have their first one.
Well, there's been a lot of things that have been canceled in the get-together category, us notwithstanding.
Us too.
So what I will say is we throw no stones at the Mist Village for canceling the event.
Oh, no, this isn't stones. I just don't know if they got... I was going to say they got to do a thing and I didn't get to go, but then I realized maybe nobody got to go.
Don't you? I mean, but it's like the futility of throwing stones at a Mist Village. It's just they're like, we don't care. We're made of mist.
I just finished book 8. I have to say I'm super sad about it. Because it means I have to wait. Wait so long. And I waited 8 books to figure out what was happening with a character that was introduced to me in the first chapter.
Huh.
I still don't even know. Not even sure. Not even sure. Lily, will you have more gnome paintings? Yes.
Oh, you can count.
Yes.
There's some gnoming gonna happen.
Brenda says she got to meet Nichelle Nicholas at Dragon Con.
Ooh.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. I used to go to Comic-Con before it was televised.
Yeah.
When the costume contest was awesome, but not the big event it is now. All right, look at that. So that's our little sparkles. And really what this is that by creating that little sense of glow, you give your butterflies a chance to dry.
All right, so we have to clarify a couple things to our community, our lovely, lovely people out here. So in our world, there is more gnome stuff coming. And it's good gnome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't say the depth to which we're going to be gnoming.
There'll be gnome lights to hold you over till gnome Sirius comes up.
And when we say they're going to be gnome lights, I mean, there might be little lights that are gnomes for you to get to. So we're going to get there. But The Gnomes by Which Cinnamon is Currently Speaking is a book series that she's reading that contains gnomes. Now, the gnomes are not a major plot device or character set in it, but they are a sub-character set that really get a lot of funny attention. And that book series, Cinnamon, is called
Chaos Seed the Land by Alaron Kong, Dr. Alaron Kong.
So she's a big fan. I have to say, I have enjoyed the series.
And by the way, for anyone who's like, oh man, you moderate your group so hard, I have had my post denied.
Yes, that's,
I know the pain. I know it. I've been through it.
So there's some gnome time coming for Sherpas. But know that our gnome culture is a big iceberg, and you have only seen the tip of the gnome presence.
No disclaimer aside, I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow and my white, and I'm going to come in and start to paint the inside right here of this wing, right? And the inside of this wing with this yellow. Now we're doing right here. You can also come in and paint a little butterfly down here with a little bit of yellow over the white. And you can see how that really helps it show. Otherwise, the yellow would kind of go green and be too transparent for you to really see said butterfly. What are we typing? Oh, Stephanie Willis, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. That really helps us. That really, really does. Painting these little wings here. Now, as I go out, I'm going to get into my Quin Magenta and my white. Quin Magenta. And I'm going to take, this is still my number 4 round. I'm going to blend in a little bit of the Quin here into the yellow. Fun stuff.
And it was called The Land by...
The Land. Chaos Seeds, The Land. And there's a new book series coming out. And you know what's really weird? And I imagine you guys feel like this. When you really like something an artist does, and then they do another project, and you know it's taking away time from the project that you're currently emotionally invested in.
You mean like
everything
the
I do?
Fox Girl?
Everything. I know where you sleep. I'm adding a bunch of white to the mix is quinacridone magenta and a little diox purple.
Where am I going to
and blend this in here.
So is this pre-recorded?
This is not pre-recorded.
How do we know? You could have done that and known.
I don't know how do they know? That's an existential crisis I'm not ready for. I wasn't prepared to answer that existential crisis, but I am painting live and speaking live and being live and teaching live. Because I had the time of my life. My brain is like this stream of consciousness. Just soundtracks and noises and
it's like you
artwork
get her,
and
if you put a microphone on Cinnamon, put her in front of a camera and ask her to paint, it's like taking all the brakes off the stream of consciousness and it just all comes
actually that's
out.
not even true, because you come in the room and you're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? You're like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, me. How many times have you walked in the room and been like, who are you talking to? Admit it.
That's true.
I'm coming back with a little more yellow to create a little kind of, I like the little glow in the wings. Just paint these little guys. Have fun with them. Don't stress about it, though. Okay? You don't want to stress about your butterfly. Don't stress about your butterflies. Fox not fixed, girl. Mary May T says, Cinnamon, I just love my cloud brushes from your line. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Sin, if there was a color you wish you could use more, what would it be? Opera pink.
Now, someone sent a
Luminous
unicorn.
opera pink would be, I wish that was more in my line right now.
Stephanie sent a unicorn. I saw a little unicorn come across here. Thank you, Stephanie.
Peggy says you can add to the chat if it's live and you cannot if it's recorded. What does that mean?
I think that
I could do that either way.
Oh,
huh?
No, when you're chatting, you can't type on the chat if it's not live.
Okay. Okay. But that part, yes, definitely. I think they were just asking. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to come in with a little bit of pink.
But see,
and some white.
What I think is that Cinnamon's totally faking this and that she's not actually painting this. This is pre-recorded and she's just...
That's not. Stop it. It's not. Because people have been like, yay.
She's totally having us on.
I'm not having anybody on. Stop it. You don't know how people will take a thing.
I don't.
I'm trying to get a little yellow here, and I'm going to come in and just blend my little wing in. A little white and yellow, and see I'm just blending it in on the toe of the brush.
I will be open-minded.
Enjoy your butterflies. Enjoy your paint time. Enjoy your butterflies. Don't listen to John ever. That's just advice I have for you. Don't listen to John. And just enjoy painting your butterflies. How's the heart doing, says Stephanie Wellness. So pretty good, I believe. I'm waiting on test results for the monitor. What I'll tell you what it did is it really made me question and rethink many things, and I have been in a bit of an existential journey. Because the whole situation, it really just scared my family a lot. Scared them. I'm okay, and everything was okay, but it just scared everybody, and it really scared my kids. And so that's just got me really thinking, to be honest. But I'm waiting on the last results, and I expect it to be okay. But it does make one think. There we go. Just creating those little glows. Just give them a little bit of glow, right? Let's do a little glow. But it's always like, but he knows where you sleep too. That would be true, but he falls asleep before me every single night, so he has no legs to stay up. And he would prank me too, but he would plan to prank me and then just totally fall asleep. That's just the reality of it. He's no game. I'm going to add some yellow, but less yellow. Notice that this is a very yellow and white butterfly. And let's make this one up here a very light purple butterfly. And everyone is saying they're glad I'm okay. And I'm super glad I'm okay. And I know some of you guys out there may be going through it and not getting great news. And so I'm wishing that you're okay too. You know, it's just one of those things. I don't know. Maybe it's my Logan's Run moment.
So I think Julia.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is my Carousel Logan's Run moment. I'm not sure. I'm having a
Renew runner.
I'm having a renew runner kind of. You'll hear about it. I'm pondering doing a thing, and if I do the thing, you guys will hear about it.
We have folks from all over the world.
All over the world, and they're up so late.
And because
so late.
We have Google Translate, we can understand that Julia in Russia says hello to you and to all of the other friends here.
Brenna says that kind of thing is definitely a thought-provoking event and can be very much a shock to you and your family. Yeah, seeing my kids cry, just never want to go through that again for those reasons.
That little gem in your hand starts to flash red and you freak out.
You do, and it did. My gem flashed red, but it was a false alarm of red. How is opera pink different than others? So opera pink, especially luminous opera pink, is this incredible saturated hot pink magenta. It mixes differently and performs differently, and I love it. It's even different than quinacridone. It's one of my faves. Just I like it so much. I do wish I used it more, but I try to introduce colors kind of thoughtfully to you guys because I know that, everybody's budget's tight, especially right now, and it might not be so fun to have to go out and go paint shopping. Amy over it says, has a happy, wonderful night and morning. This time really reminds me of those two movies for sure. This time really reminds me of those two movies for sure. So I'm just going here. Thank you. So we've got a few more. We're going to put in some black details and we're going to add some white dots. This is a great time to just touch up any, if you're like, oh, you could use a little pink on the inside of your wings, go ahead and give a little pink on the inside of the wings. It's okay. Pink up those little interior wings. These are your butterflies. You decide what their magical markings and colors are. It's up to you. No one else gets to tell you how to paint your butterflies. I have a friend who recently started in home hospice, drives home a reality a little bit too much, Callie. Yeah. First of all, love and respect hospice workers. What an incredible, heroic group of people. They do such an important job. I know our family has really had, it's a weird thing to say positive experience. Here's the thing. We go through this. There's as of yet, there's not a avoid that section of your life thing. And so to have people who create that space of safety and who make a place that's safe for people to transition and for their families, it's really powerful and really amazing. And I admire it so much. But I know it's not an easy thing for anyone to go through. You know, but it is wonderful that that's work that's done. This could be a get well card. Robin says, stupid horsefly won't leave me alone. I'm changing my animal to horsefly. But Robin, what color is your horsefly?
Mm.
All right, so I'm going to add a little head here. I'm just going to kind of make a little dot. He needs a little head so he's somewhere to steer. And I'll give him a little body. Little body. Little tiny body, though. See, kind of like a little body. Squeezes in there on the toe of the brush. And then I'm going to come really lightly on the brush and make a little antenna. And the antenna kind of sweeps out and curves in together. See, he's got a little antenna. I'm not going to give him legs. I gave the other one legs on the test, and I don't know. It made him look like a flying ant. It didn't work. So I'm not going to do it this time. There we go. A little bit of antenna coming off there. I think that antenna got a little thick, though. So before it dries, I'm going to rinse out my brush with clean water. And then I'm going to kind of squeeze it. See how I'm sort of squeezing it? So it kind of comes to an end. I'm going to squeeze it, and I'm going to come right there. And I'm going to clean up that paint. See how that's done? You didn't even know you could do that. Now you do. I wipe off on the paper towel, and I come back. And that's how I thin that line back down, even though I boo-booed it. And then I'll come back and fix that in a minute when it's all dry. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. So I'm going to continue to load black into my brush. Black into my brush. You never know. Maybe it will be like a altered carbon soon, and our consciousness will be downloaded into a sleeve. You know what, though? As you get older, things in the Matrix look different. They do. You're like, wait, you just give me a program? I mean, I don't know. I think they should have worked with people. It could have been optional. Maybe people would have been more like positive about it. Now I'm going to come here. I'm rinsing out quite vigorously, and I'm going to get into that white that has like that kind of fluidness, and I'm going to go ahead and give this little... Watch your brush when you do a deep wash like I did, because water comes down the handle and collects in a drop and will drop on your canvas. It's tricky like that. You got to watch it. Kind of outlining a little bit with my white so that butterfly kind of shows up. And then I think this is oh, you know what? I forgot to do a whole thing.
What'd you forget to do?
I forgot to do the black outline of the wings, which really created a whole sense of contrast. And I was like, I'm like, what is it? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, that is. You skipped a whole step, girl. Back to my white. Sorry, guys. See? Live. Going on the outside. Tomorrow we're painting a much more realistic butterfly on lilac flowers with water drops. Should be a lot of fun on a nice little 8x8 canvas. I think we will enjoy it. You could probably also outline them in purple if you wanted. And then definitely this one needs it. It's a very relaxing painting to do, and you can do this. Just be easy with yourself. Try not to be critical of every decision that you make in the painting. Not to be critical of ourselves, isn't it? Callie says, I've said it before, but it bears repeating. I love the new sound. I do too.
This is the new
Angel's
Zoom.
like dancing cows painting. Why not, Angela? Yes.
Now, if you've played World of Warcraft, you've seen dancing cows.
It's true. And I like doing Warcraft paintings. I do. So I'm going to notice this is the way I've loaded it on this brush right here. Look at all the stuff. Like, you can like identify me by my fingerprints right now.
Well, I can go in closer.
How close can you go? I'm going to be right here. How close can you go? All right, let's see what it does. Will it focus though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Let's just enjoy this moment. Let's tap some paint down. Little tiny dots using the tip of our brush. I'm going to come back to that space, and I'm just going to work that wing for a minute, John.
Technically speaking, this is the maximum optical zoom I can do, but because this is a 4K camera, we could even just go.
No. This is like you can look at what you can see.
We can go, would you like to be even closer?
Oh, my goodness. This is amazing.
It gets ridiculous at some point.
I think it's wonderful.
Because this isn't...
Let's move down to the lower wing, sir.
Like, yeah, this isn't even close to the maximum of what we can do.
I'm not going to dot as fast as I can because John's got you guys so zoomed in.
Well, we can... Here, I'll tell you what. I'll fade us back out to the regular... See, there's what... There's there, and then there's there.
Oh, wow.
So...
If you were wondering what we're doing...
We're playing with our cameras.
What you can see, you guys can do. Do you guys love this? Everybody thinks it's wicked cool. Brenna's like, I put so many hours into Warcraft 2, my mom to this day despises orc noises when I play them on my phone. I need to do a Warcraft painting again soon. Oh, we got the D&D one coming up. Maybe those can kind of go together. Maybe I need to pay a Morlock on the easy day and then the D&D one on the harder day. Hard to say. I did a Starry Night of the Two Gates. Your login space?
Yeah.
I did the Starry Night of that. But I don't know that people find it easily.
This camera's feeling punchy today. It's like...
Is it punchy?
What it is that,
We're learning it.
My carburetor needs tuning.
My carburetor needs tuning. That ended up sounding different than I intended. I had a bit of a spin on it that I wasn't really going for. The curse of being an artist. You say innocent things and then they just don't sound that way.
Now, that is something that I'm trying to be careful of. Is when I get so zoomed in, if you guys have this very close to your face, like if you're watching on your iPad or your device, I have to be much more cognizant of the motion because it can cause what's called motion sickness. So if for whatever reason I'm real zoomed in and you start to feel like, whoa, that's like a little motion sickness feeling.
Put the device down. And
step back for a minute and it'll pass.
We'll fix it. Like, you can let us know, like, oh, guys, getting a little seasick here. We'll call it Zoom sick. Getting a little Zoom sick.
It's actually, it's got a word. It's called simulation sickness. And what it's from is your inner ear gets off from what your eyes perceive should be happening. So it makes your body believe it's tipping over and falling down, which makes you dizzy and heady. So if some people can read in a car and have no problem, some people read in a car and they get car sick. It's a very similar thing.
Car sick girl.
But
you know what the issue is about being on a green screen though, John?
Nope.
No, you don't know? I'd like to tell you. Can I tell you?
Sure.
Are you ready to hear this? Are you ready to be open-minded?
Okay.
Green is like one of my favorite colors, and I can't wear green.
Well, you know what I can do is I can just go with chroma blue on those days.
But I wear a lot of... Oh, can I have different chromas?
Yeah.
Maybe if we did that, maybe like so I could get back to some green. I have a lot of green clothes that I look at and say, I would like to wear this today, but I'd have a big, giant, weird hole in my chest.
Okay.
The shape of Totoro.
I can chroma out any color you want as a background. You just have to not wear that color that you're selecting and not have it as a influencing color. So like you wouldn't want to choose purple or pink or anything in those fuchsia color range because your hair would just go.
Oh yeah.
Matter of fact, you want to know what happens to color key when we select Sherpa's hair as a color?
No, I really don't. I want what happens? Do I have no eyebrows? All right, what does happen?
That just
Nothing. Nothing happens.
it just your hair does not it does not chroma out. It says no. Oh, there it goes. You go. Bzz.
Ooh,
So you're just turning
teacher. Sorry. Let's bump that. That got a little. There we go. Touch that up there. You guys love that. And you can, then take this minute and touch up any little butterflies that you want to touch up.
Oh, wait.
Look at that. There you go. Okay. I have some kind of not great news. The only thing I can do to extend it out is this little yellow butterfly up here. But we're at the end, guys.
Oh, man.
Our wonderful Friday night time together. We're at the end. I'm going to go watch some Connections with my son. I want you guys to do something that's taking care of yourself, that's kind to you. Definitely prioritize some of that. I'm going to do a pink one, I think, a pink signature on this one so we can tell them apart. Putting our little name on. So we remember that we made this, that we had this time together. This time is important. Painting time is a big deal. Big deal. Because we're taking a little time to allow our imagination to have some space. And I'll tell you what, your life, solving problems in it, finding new solutions, seeing different outcomes becomes much easier when you regularly use your imagination. This is really important time. Imagination is serious business. I wish they taught it in school more, like with the maths. I don't want to take away any of the other things. I'm just saying on top of. Goodness, we did it.
You did.
We did it. We did it. We did it. Tomorrow's painting is going to be fantastic, guys. It's going to be amazing. I hope to see you there. This is when I literally was almost in acrylic April this year and didn't quite make the cut. Because I wanted to do it a little more involved than acrylic April allows for. And so I've been saving it and looking at it and saving it and looking at it and saving it and looking at it. Now it's the time. Time to paint that.
This was so much fun.
A lot of fun, guys. Thank you for your time. We so appreciate it. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.